Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
I'm Joe Wakefield.
I'm Ryan Lang.
Hey guys, so if you're just joining us for the first time, what we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes it's cryptozoology, sometimes it's hauntings. It's always cool and always, well, I guess that's it, always spooky. Our next section is Ryan's Disclosure Discussion. It's all about aliens.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just trying to see what's been disclosed, what aren't they disclosing, what rumors are about, UFO stories, that kind of stuff.
Love it. And the latter half of the show is entertainment. So that's entertainment news. Sometimes we play a trivia game. Sometimes it's a celebrity death. But you know what? It's always entertainment, which together, all that is Earthling Entertainment. Welcome. Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome.
So I got a little bit something I want to talk about real quick. I love Friday the 13th. I love the franchise. We talked in an earlier episode about how I have been collecting the novelizations.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely, you have been collecting quite a many of them.
Excellent. Well, now I'm collecting the fan films.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So there are some Friday the 13th people who are just super, super into it so much that they are making their own movies. And I don't know how much they're spending, but they are an hour and a half. They are actors. Some are better than others, but they're the most effort you'd think. There's kills, there's boobs. It's a love letter to the series. So if you are looking for new Friday the 13th content, check these out. So I'm going to just name a few of these in no particular order. There is Never Hike Alone, and that is a great one. There is 1 and 2 for Never Hike Alone. Check it out. There's also, we have,
He really has all these laid out here, people.
Yeah, I bought physical copies of them all, which is funny because I don't even know if I bought them from the people who made the film or if this is somebody who just stole them from online and printed them and made the copies. So if you out there are the ones creating these Friday the 13th movies, thanks. I hope I gave you my money. But all right, we have another one called My Special Boy, which is awesome. We have Rose Blood,
which is a pretty cool cover on that one.
Pretty cool cover. And we have Friday the 13th Vengeance.
What is going on with this one?
This is Voorhees, Night of the Beast. Now, on this cover, we have Jason Voorhees in front of his iconic cabin, but it's all seen through the silhouette of what appears to be Bigfoot.
It definitely appears to be Bigfoot.
I have not seen this film, but Jason Voorhees and Bigfoot, I gotta be honest, this is the next one I'm going to be watching.
I really want to see that one.
And, and finally, we have Voorhees, a Friday the 13th fan film. And like I said, these are full feature films. It's amazing because these films are called fan films because the rights owners, they didn't make them. But some films made at that exact same budget end up being huge. We have, of course, Paranormal Activity, or the most famous one, The Blair Witch Project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of funny that you mentioned that. So I heard the people involved in making Blair Witch Project, which, they sold it to Lionsgate Films. They weren't making it for Lionsgate. So they made this film, pitched it, and sold it for $300,000. Back then, so arguably they made some good money on this piece of crap, right? Like,
Sure.
Even though it's a classic for me, let's face it, it's the cheapest movie you've ever seen.
Yes, so I'm going to correct you just on a few things here. It's the 3 actors who were originally in the original Blair Witch Project. Now, they were paid about $300,000, like you said.
Yeah.
That's what they got for their roles, and they also gave up their rights to the ownership of the film. So when this film became a big hit, they got their money. They didn't get any more of that money. And you are right. I don't know if it was Artisan Entertainment, but long story short, in my head, it feels like it's Artisan. Whoever distributed the film originally was bought out by Lionsgate, who now owns the rights to the Blair Witch Project.
And now they're asking for more, because it went on to make, $3 million, I think, something like that.
Well, compared to the price, it was like one of the best financial gains of any film ever. It was millions for sure.
And now they're asking for, like, you probably know the terms better than me, like residuals. They even want creative input, like permission for any sequels, for merchandise. Literally, they listed all the things they want
Yes.
now
Yes.
in
Okay.
2024.
Yes. So the actors, and I'm only going to stick this to the facts that I know. The actors have an open letter to Lionsgate that basically says what Ryan said, is they want residuals. They feel like they were upset because they were never contacted when Lionsgate has decided to move forward with another film. They also want to have, like you said, creative input in any future Blair Witch content. And yeah, a lot of this is frivolous. And you with the one exception, if their likenesses is used in marketing for a
Yeah,
future
that'd be
film,
different.
then they should get paid for that. But beyond that, yeah, they got their check. They were not trying to be a dick, but they were no-name actors who
Yeah.
did a movie that became a huge hit.
It was just a college film, right?
I don't remember, but it was very indie, and it was definitely, if it wasn't college, it was right out of college. But the bottom line is they got their check, they made their deals.
And arguably a great check for what they did.
Well, I don't know if that was like they got 300,000 right off the bat, because I don't think that was the budget of the film. I think ultimately that's all they got for it.
Right, they sold it, and I believe they put on the end, like, because we didn't,
Well, to be clear, the actors did not sell it. The actors were hired.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And they're saying that, like, oh, according to SAG-AFTRA, but that's the thing, is when they agreed to let them sell the film, they obviously didn't represent themselves properly.
They had nothing to do with it at that point. That's what I'm saying, is I believe the $300,000 that they ultimately got where they were giving up any ownership of the film. So the producers and all that were the ones that own it at that point. And it's a moot point because the distributor was bought by Lionsgate. So the people,
Right.
anyways, the people who owned the film were bought by a bigger company. Now the bigger company owns film. It's just how that works. And it doesn't, residuals, they were actors for hire. They didn't get any residuals. Then wanting it later from a company who isn't the original company who made the movie is silly.
And now I want to look up, like, their filmography. What else have they done since then?
You know what? We'd have to look it up because I don't know. I don't know. But you know what? That's the thing. It's, if you get a little taste of success, everybody wants a bit. It's the way it is, whether it's earned. I mean, maybe our listeners out there think that they deserve some residuals. Maybe they think that they don't, but it's honestly a moot point, because I do believe legally
it's just not how
they're
works.
not going to get anything, because it's show business, man. I hate to say it, it's a business.
And it just kind of, I don't know. I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about it is it felt like at this point in their lives, you'd think they'd be past something like that. The fact that they're asking for it now, it seems really kind of...
Well, they're asking for it now because Lionsgate announced that they're going to do more projects. They're going to do more Blair Witch stuff. So that's why that's what started all of this. And as far as them being beyond it, I mean, if it was one of, like, their greatest hits, it's like the guy who was the football star and hasn't done anything since high school.
Exactly.
He's living in the past. He's wearing his Letterman jacket in his 40s. You know what I mean? So if, and I do not know, maybe they've done a lot of stuff, but if any of these actors haven't really done anything and they're just, oh, I did Blair Witch Project back in the day, then I can see why they would, try to get an extra bite of that pie. But I don't think they legally,
I have one last thing to say, because we talked about toys. Remember when they would do all the horror creature toys and they made a Blair Witch toy? Do you remember that?
I do not remember that. What did the Blair Witch look like?
It was pretty freaky looking. It was like a skeletal lady dressed in white.
That's funny, because I wonder if that was based on any, what is it called? Art from the film, like any of the people. Continue.
It actually was supposed to be in the film, and it was on the set. It was in the scene where she's running when they first go at the very end, spoiler alert, when they go to the house there at the very end, she was supposed to pan the camera that she's running with to the left, because standing there was that they built it. They had, like, this creature built, and it was supposed to just be
like a quick glimpse.
Yes.
Yeah. That's actually pretty cool, but she didn't record it.
And you hear her go, like, what the F was that? What the F was that? Because she was reacting to it, but they didn't realize that she didn't pan over enough.
Record it.
Yep.
I feel like that is a stagnant, well, it's not a stagnant shot, but that is a shot of a stick. Like you could, I mean, just make it look like there's like a jump in the film and just get that shot later on. I don't know.
Obviously, like I said, the film was arguably bad.
So they based the toy off that.
Right. Because they obviously sent them probably pictures of, right, when they were on set. I'm sure they took tons of pictures.
Okay, cool. Because I was thinking that, like, can you imagine if you're the toy company and they're like, there is no Blair Witch, and you're just like,
I remember always thinking that.
Hunt, this is my chance. I'm a modeler. I've came to this company to make models of creatures, and this is my one opportunity. Oh no, they got a picture of it. Oh.
Right. And it was never in the film because she sucked with the camera.
Yes. Well, guys, speaking of, I can't actually segue. I had a couple good segues, but this time we're just going to say it. It's time to start our first segment, Spooky Stuff. Now, guys, this one is, we're doing a classic. Have you heard of Mothman? Because if you haven't, well, you've been living under a rock, or you're very young. Either way, we're doing Mothman on this week's Spooky Stuff.
It was the year 1966 when a strange creature surfaced in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. This creature was described as being at least 7 feet tall, with a humanoid body and a wingspan at least 10 feet in length. Its distinguishing feature? 2 red glowing eyes that terrified anyone who saw them.
Yeah, wouldn't that be terrifying? It's night and you just see 2 red eyes? That feels like some video game stuff. That's horrifying.
That's one of the worst things I could ever imagine to see in the dark, Joe. For the next year, this strange moth-like creature continued to terrorize the residents of Point Pleasant. Thus, the legend of the Mothman was born.
The legend was born. Yeah, so Mothman, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. This is, there was a movie called The Mothman Prophecies, which was based on a bridge collapse that happened in the 60s. And that is the most famous Mothman story. We will talk more about that later. I just wanted to mention, like, I liked The Mothman Prophecies.
It's like, turn that light back on. You want anything bad to happen cloth-related? Turn it back on. Sorry,
it destroys bridges and eats your sweater.
That's right.
Okay, took me a sec, but I caught up. We're there. All
so
right.
It was an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference there. My bad.
Ah, fair enough.
The Mothman is a large creature thought to inhabit the TNT area located just outside of Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yeah, that's an area where they used to make TNT in, I believe, World War I and II or something like that. But the point is it's closed down and toxins leaked into the water, and it's a whole toxic area. So it's called the TNT area.
All right, that makes sense. This winged creature first appeared on November 12th, 1966, in front of 5 men who were digging a grave in Clendenin, West Virginia, approximately 1 hour and 20 minutes away from Point Pleasant. Just 3 days later, on November 15th, 2 couples were going for a nighttime drive through the TNT area and spotted the creature again. Terrified, they sped off at over 100 miles per hour.
Whoa, that's fast!
But the strange being had no trouble keeping up with them. The couples were chased back into town, where they reported their sighting to Deputy Sheriff Millard Halstead. The next day, Deputy Halstead and the couples held a press conference at the city courthouse to share the story. It was then that the creature was named Mothman because of its strange appearance.
Yeah, I mean, that is creepy, right? Because I imagine driving in a car and you're going real fast. Like, that's what I always thought. Like, if you were running from a werewolf or Bigfoot or anything, you get in your car, you drive away, and you're kind of safe. You know, Jason Voorhees, on the other hand, would just pop up in front of you. But the idea of something flying right next to your car, like so fast that it's like right next to you and it just looks over at you, and it's like, I just imagine kind of a cartoony scene where it just like kind of nods as you're going 100 miles an hour. That'd be horrifying.
Like, why am I reminded of like the weird creatures from Harry Potter just like keeping up with you, just like, oh my god. I forget what they're called.
Well, you don't want to piss off a what is it, a Dementor?
That was it. Thank
you. Dementor, which kind of, no offense to anybody who designed a Dementor, but it just feels like it's a death. It's like a shadow.
Yeah,
it looks like death. If it had a sickle, it'd be,
Yeah, like one of the dudes from Lord of the Rings too.
Sure. Yeah, the Nazgul.
The Nazgul.
Oh, but Mothman, his thing has wings. If its wingspan is that big, is it kind of floating above your car, or is it far enough away next to your car that its wings could be parallel with your car? So are you looking at this thing like a foot away because it's just kind of hovering with its head near the window, or is it like 15 feet away? And how wide is the road? I have questions, Ryan.
What if it hits a tree?
That would be hilarious. That would be the scary movie version of Mothman.
Later that night, another famous sighting occurred when Marcella Bennett drove to a friend's house, which happened to be located inside the TNT area. When she got out of the car with her baby, she was startled as a large creature started to come out of the shadows near her car.
Terrifying.
Her fright caused her to drop her young child, though she quickly recovered from her shock.
Oh, good. So she picked the baby up.
She picked up the baby,
Excellent.
ran inside, and quickly locked the doors.
As one does.
Mothman climbed onto the porch and peered through the windows at the family, but disappeared before the police arrived.
Yeah, you always got to leave before the cops show up. I mean, I'm just saying, they get near a phone and you're a Mothman, you're like, oh, shit.
They're going to shoot you.
I'm going to be profiled. I need to get out of here.
I'm just saying, they're going to shoot the heck out of the Mothman. Like, we're not, like, when it comes to any supernatural creature that the cops come upon, they're just going to be riddled with bullets.
Doesn't even have to be supernatural. Nowadays, they just shoot you. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. Over the next few months, Mothman terrorized the town. Nearly 100 people came forward with eyewitness reports between November 1966 and December of 1967.
So it's like a whole year of nonsense.
A whole year of Mothman fuckery.
I mean, you feel like a few of those people had to jump on the bandwagon. We're just making shit up. Like, I'm saying, I believe this because there's enough reports.
Yes.
But there had to be one guy who's just like, yeah, I saw a Mothman when I was, taking a crap in an outhouse. And yeah.
Well, and there's something to be said about, kind of terror. At that time, there was no internet. There was no nothing like that. You know what I mean?
It's all word of mouth.
All word of mouth. So, yeah, you're probably freaked out by now if you've heard enough stories. So, yeah, you could probably imagine some shit.
I know I could.
And there's bears in West Virginia and stuff. Like, I'm sure you could, hear something big.
The bears.
The bears. During this time, the town of Point Pleasant also experienced paranormal and possibly extraterrestrial activity that was thought to be somehow linked to the Mothman. Those who saw Mothman claim that he was large, gray, humanoid-type creature with massive wings. He is thought to stand between 5 and 7 feet tall with a 10-foot wingspan.
I wonder if 10 feet is a wide enough wingspan to lift the weight of a 7-foot tall creature. But we don't know how much it weighs. Maybe like other birds, it has hollow bones. I don't know. I'm just shooting the shit.
A 1-ounce bird can't carry a 2-pound coconut. Mothman's head is described as being oddly shaped and sitting close to the creature's body.
No neck.
Some people even describe him as being headless, with only 2 eyes protruding above his torso.
That makes sense. I've seen a lot of drawings like that where they just kind of do a big circle for the body and the eyes are just peering out of the top and it doesn't look like there's any separation between the head and body.
Kind of just hanging up there like Sauron's eye.
Well, owls they kind of crunch down too, right?
Yeah.
Like he could just look like that when it's perching.
Right. What if this was just like an now extinct owl that was just huge?
Well, it doesn't explain the red eyes or being the harbinger of doom. Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't.
Yeah. Gotcha there, motherfucker.
Additionally, his bright-eyed, glowing eyes are said to be extremely large.
And pretty.
Mothman is also capable of incredible flying capabilities. He is also capable of weaving quickly in between dense forest areas. Oh, so he doesn't hit trees.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm glad they solved it. It's like in a movie, all you want is an explanation.
That's right.
I'm easy. Just tell me. She was a fembot all along. That's it. That's all I need. Moving on.
Yep. See, and we ask good questions here. And rising straight into the sky like a helicopter. These flight patterns are beyond our current capabilities with solo flight devices like jetpacks, causing many people to disregard the possibility of a prank and also the fact that this was back in the 60s.
I don't know. I would love to see. Can you imagine driving in your car at 100 miles an hour and you look to your right and there's just some dude with a jetpack flying? But
Science!
it just blows your mind so hard that your brain can't comprehend it. So it put together an amalgamation of the moths that were near the picnic you were just having at Makeout Point and the giant bird you saw when you were 5 years old the last time your father took you on a hike before he died of a heart attack prematurely at 45.
And really, it was just Jimbo the hobo
Who found a jetpack.
who somehow understands rocket science and was just fucking around one day.
Just because you're not good with money and you don't have a home doesn't mean you're not smart. Okay?
They say
Also, crack is delicious.
it really must be, right? It must be.
Yeah, well, a lot of people give up everything for it, so I guarantee
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
It's like, what would they say in Venture Brothers? Oh, it's like getting sucked off by an angel.
I'll be.
Back to Mothman.
And angel blowjobs. You had me at boobies.
I didn't say that.
You
That
did
was-
in the beginning of the episode, actually. You said there was boobs in the Friday the 13th films.
Yeah, fair enough.
I derailed Joe
hold on,
completely.
I guess you win.
Thank you. Thank you. Though many people are divided on the nature of the Mothman, it has been noted that the creature has never harmed a human being during its encounters. This has caused many believers to think that the Mothman means no harm, but instead tries to warn people of impending danger with its presence.
That would suck, right? Like you're just such a scary creature that you cannot stop freaking people out, but you're just like, no, you guys, there's a big pothole. I just want you to know to watch.
Oh.
No, there, no. All right,
Well,
never mind.
You tried to warn us. Thanks. Thank you, Mothman.
Thank you, Mothman. Mothman, you need to get like a pen and paper or some shit because this screeching and staring at us in the dark is just giving the wrong message.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just, trying to help out.
Listen, I just thought the bridge might fall over. You guys figure you might want to know.
This was later evidence further with the collapse, like Joe just said, of the Silver Bridge, as many witnesses claimed to see the Mothman on the bridge just before it fell.
Hey, don't go across this thing.
Stop!
Seriously, guys, it's gonna fall over, man.
Thank you, Mothman.
Thank you, Mothman.
Others make arguments for the creature's evil nature and cite the disappearance of Newell Partridge's dog.
I just like witnessing pain.
And sometimes I eat dogs.
Oh, they're delicious. Num 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 num
Num,
num
num,
dog.
num, num,
You know,
dog,
it's
dog,
not
dog.
as good as when I do it in the voice.
It's okay, Mothman. And the ancient legend of Chief Cornstalk as evidence. Yes, Chief Cornstalk. It is.
To be fair, we're going to talk about Chief Cornstalk. That's a real thing.
Good.
Yeah, he put a curse on the area.
Oh.
But continue.
I'll be damned. It is their belief that the Mothman is a creature of danger and chaos who seeks to put humans in dangerous situations.
So, is this a harbinger of doom or a warner of catastrophe? Is he a friend or is he a foe? What do you think, Ryan?
What if, like a moth, he just can't help it and he gravitates towards spots
destructions?
where shit's gonna happen, like a moth to the flame.
Like a moth to the flame. That's a fun thought.
Huh?
Yeah, I like that. There's actually some evidence in this article that would support that theory. So, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The origin theories. Alien creature. Many people claim to have witnessed UFO sightings and paranormal experiences during Mothman's time in Point Pleasant, leading many to believe that the Mothman could be an extraterrestrial creature.
I've heard of this, but the people who think this think everything's an alien. They're the same people that are saying Bigfoot's an alien. So, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying not everything's an alien.
I'll take that over everything's a demon.
Well, that's just religious, right? Like, if you're
Right.
not religious, everything's an alien. If you're religious, everything's a demon.
Yes.
All right.
Like, it's so funny. You can always tell. It's like, oh, okay. Okay.
I know what you're about.
But
Continue.
But it's like you're still on the team. It's just, okay, you're a different section.
I just think it's funny when people get so pissed over words, like what we call things. You know what I mean?
I have
Like,
a preference, but yeah, I don't care.
well, I'm just saying, if you say, an undiscovered gorilla that walks on 2 feet, people will be like, "Oh, wow, science." But you say, Sasquatch, they go, that is not real.
They totally were. I believe they absolutely were. I don't know about now, but they totally were. That's for sure.
And apparently so are Mothmen.
I agree with that too.
Excellent.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it as well.
Here we go. Others who saw the Mothman were questioned by strange men in black with pale, translucent skin. They were asked if they had witnessed the Mothman, and if so, what they had specifically seen. Many people reported that they had talked in a strange, almost robotic tone that made
The Men in
them
Black?
nervous. Yes.
Yeah, that is creepy.
That the Men in Black is the freakiest thing, right? Because that's like the section of the government that they're for sure not on record.
Yeah,
and they're visiting you.
Well, that's the thing, that is one idea of who the Men in Black are. Another idea is they are extraterrestrials themselves. A fun show that was out on Fox for 5 seasons was called Fringe, and they kind of implied that the Men in Black were observers, which were humans in the future who evolved past emotion, and with the help of surgical implants have gotten great powers. They're all bald, kind of anemic, super white. Went back in time to take over the world. The point is, the Men in Black being something more than human is a very common thing.
I agree with that too. Like even interdimensional, like that's their best way that they could come into our realm as close to human like as they can.
We
like,
normal talk.
Yeah. We are totally humans.
Don't worry about it. Here come the Men in Black. Clearly, I am Will Smith.
Don't say that. He is in trouble right now.
Oh, I'm Tommy Lee Jones.
That
He's
is
still
better.
alive, right?
I think.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yes.
Human stuff.
We're both Tommy Lee Jones.
Football.
No, soccer. No, it's not soccer. Football. Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
We are in the United States.
Ha ha. Ha ha.
Anyone who was questioned and who had in fact seen something related to the Mothman was told to remain quiet on the subject.
Shut your mouth.
No. Shush now. Several of the witnesses received anonymous threatening phone calls that warned them not to speak about the Mothman.
I know that would be so threatening back in the day because
in the day.
Yeah, but like if someone called me now, they're just like, "Don't you talk about it." I'd be like, "Who are you? Why are you calling me?" I said, "Don't you talk about it. It never happened." What? This is a landline. You know my cell phone number? Don't talk about it. I'm not that afraid of you. I feel like you're going to a Bennigan's.
So what?
I don't know, man. It was like an 80s chain, but it's kind of like an old person dinner place in my head because of movies from the 80s.
Okie dokie then.
Look, Ryan, not all the jokes can be golden, okay? I was drinking some water. I was trying to continue. It was a bad joke to begin with. I kind of buried myself in a corner. And you know what? You did nothing to help me out. You did not give me
I jumped in at Bennigan's. Fucking Bennigan's.
Well, all right, fine.
Extraterrestrial enthusiasts from Bennigan's claim that the descriptions of these strange men match those of an alien species.
Oh, yeah, that's the lizard guys.
Oh, yeah, those guys. Mm-hmm. The sightings of these strange men in the Bennigans, combined with the Mothman, leads many to believe that the Mothman may be an extraterrestrial creature that somehow found its way to Earth.
Yep, that's the theory.
Welcome to Earth.
You get punched in the face or slapped in the face if you're making jokes.
Yes, you never know. It's a real toss in the hat there. Some say it's a mutated monster. Others who believe in the Mothman prefer a more scientific approach. Their theories about the Mothman's origins are largely influenced by the home of the creature, the TNT area.
Now, this is obviously what I was talking about earlier. So a bunch of toxins from this area where they used to store actual weapons of mass destruction.
The TNT area, sorry, smoking my pen. The TNT area was constructed during World War II. It was situated near a large wildlife preservation area. ensuring that the area was remote and rarely frequented.
Except all the animals got mutated.
Yeah, that happens. The TNT area is comprised of many miles of igloo-type concrete domes. The military used these spaces to create and store weapons of mass destruction. After the war, the site was abandoned. Many toxic substances from the weapons that were stored leaked out onto the surrounding forest area.
Yeah, and this isn't like, a legend. No, this is real. This is an absolute documented thing.
Yeah, humans suck.
Uh.
There are some that believe that the Mothman was affected by these chemicals.
This is entirely possible.
They believe that somehow a creature's DNA was fused with the toxic chemicals and somehow mutated into a strange humanoid creature.
We're lucky we didn't get a kaiju, okay? It seems like every time is radiation in Japan, they get a giant monster destroying the whole goddamn city. And you know what? We get a Mothman. At least it's only 7 feet tall. That's what I have to say, Ryan. At least it's only 7 feet tall.
And it does not have an eye on its butt.
That was a good that was a good episode, but I'm really sad that was the one I forgot to hit record on.
Yeah, me too. It was a great episode. Like, everybody, it was the best. Like, this is the best song of the world. This is just a tribute.
Yeah, you guys will never know the epic Nick.
We forgot to record.
We forgot to record 3 weeks ago.
The greatest podcast in the world now. No, this is a tribute.
Mothman.
So there are some to believe that the Mothman was affected by these chemicals. They believe that somehow the creature's DNA... Oh, yeah, so I said that. There are those who believe that they think that this Mothman is our own doing and believe that we should deal with the consequences accordingly.
The folly of man.
That's right. Or some believe he's a vengeful curse.
Yeah, so this is the chief, the cornstalk. So Chief Cornstalk, unfortunately, things didn't work out for him and he cursed us. Well, he didn't curse us. He cursed West Virginians.
That's right, as one should. Still, others believe Mothman is the embodiment of a 200-year-old curse. This curse can be traced back to the death of Chief Cornstalk and several of his tribesmen. Chief Cornstalk wanted peace with the American colonists who were trying to occupy the land of 7 different Native American nations. November 7th, 1777, Chief Cornstalk traveled to a fort in an area called Point Pleasant and tried to engage in peace talks with the colonists to prevent fighting.
It didn't go well.
Fearful, the colonists took him and his companions prisoner and detained them inside their fort. On November 10th, 1777, gunfire was heard near the Kanawha River. When the soldiers from the fort went to investigate, they found that 2 men who had left to hunt for deer had been ambushed by Native Americans. One was dead. Enraged, the soldiers burst into the quarters of Chief Cornstalk and his companions and brutally murdered them as revenge.
As one does.
As he lay dying on the ground, Chief Cornstalk is said to have uttered a curse on the land in which he died. He spoke the following words: I was the borderman's friend. Many times I have saved him and his people from harm. I never warred with you, but only to protect our wigwams and lands. I refuse to join your pale-faced enemies with the redcoats.
That's what I was trying to say.
I came to the fort as your friend, and you murdered me. You have murdered by my side my young son. For this, may the curse of the Great Spirit rest upon this land. May it be blighted by nature. May it even be blighted in its hopes. May the strength of its people be paralyzed by the stain of our blood.
Metal.
Strange events occurred later in history, such as a lightning bolt that twice destroyed a monument erected in honor of the colonists who fought for the Ohio River Valley.
Well, that seems like a message from God if you believe in that kind of thing.
When the Mothman appeared in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, many people were convinced that he was yet another punishment set upon the land from the angered spirit of Chief Cornstalk.
Da, 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 pa, 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 pa. So, yeah, this Mothman, it wasn't the most famous was Point Pleasant, West Virginia with the bridge collapse, but he was seen a lot in other places in the world, apparently, and at different times, and is still seen today relatively close. I mean, we got a bunch of sightings that are right here. The first one is the collapse of the Zion Dam. What is it? Would you say?
I would say Zion Te Dam.
The Zion Te Dam.
Surprisingly, the first sighting of the Mothman may be traced back 40 years before he appeared in Point Pleasant. The beginning of January 1926 opened the appearance of a strange creature in southeastern China. I did hear about this one.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
The locals described this creature as a man-dragon that could frequently be seen hovering over the Zion Te Dam. On January 19th, 1926, the Zion Te Dam collapsed, releasing nearly 40 billion gallons of water into the surrounding farms in the valley. The death toll is estimated to be well over 15,000, though many of the records of this disaster have since been destroyed.
Oof. I mean, so that's another one. Once again, either the harbinger of doom or the guy trying to warn everybody.
Hey, get away from this place. It's gonna go bad, man. I mean, this is the first time I'm doing this. I'm just trying to make it good, Maybe I'll get better. Maybe by 1966, 1967, I'll successfully be able to warn someone from a disaster. But right now, gotta get away.
Thank you, Mothman.
Thank you.
The collapse of the I-35 bridge. At the end of June in 2007, reports of the Mothman began surfacing in Minnesota. The reports,
Don't you know?
And the reports were concentrated in Minneapolis and surrounding areas. Sorry. And
Go for it. I liked it.
In the I-35 bridge itself. After a month of sightings, the bridge collapsed on August 1st, 2007, don't you know? The collapse was devastating, killing 13 people and injuring 145 others. Do you believe it?
Don't you know?
Do you believe it?
You know what I don't believe is if the Mothman was trying to get better at his job, he does not seem to be doing, because this is, as far as I know, the second bridge collapse in his career, and he's not doing well, bud.
I'm leaning towards he can't control it. He's literally
A
drawn
moth to the flame
to these events where he knows it's going to be catastrophic.
It seems, though, that this one, I don't want to diminish the tragedy, but 13 people dying and 145 injured. But
So that was he was probably counting on a few more of those to die.
well, I'm just saying, how supernatural is it? Because is he just in the area and he's like, oh, there's a big thing? Because they're hypothetically, God forbid, that there's worse times than that, worse disasters than that. There's been, what about mass shootings? Does that not count? Because that is humans doing it to other humans. Does it have to be kind of more of a natural thing? Like that, I guess that makes sense. I'll go with that. It has to be something out of the hands of human.
Something that will happen no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just
a nexus point.
a final destination mark that he just has to come to. What if he feeds on souls? So he's kind of like a vulture hanging over, an animal that's dying, waiting to feast on it. It's
maybe that's pretty cool, but it would have to be souls that die in some kind of natural-ish disaster, because there are other times where more people have died. I'm just saying, I don't want to get into human tragedy, but if it was just after souls, it has to be something to do with, not by the hand of man.
And we have no idea what laws this kind of creature operates on anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So here we go. November 12th to November 16th, 1966. On November 12th, 1966, the Mothman was first sighted flying over a cemetery by 5 men who were digging a grave late at night. They just
No question as to why they're digging a grave in the middle of the night. They were mobsters.
That's how you always do it. It's in every, even I remember even in Goosebumps, they were always doing the digging of the grave late at night. They always ran into the friendly gravekeeper late at night. It's why are you here?
I guess it makes sense. We're going to have a funeral first thing in the morning, but
that does make sense.
Why are you waiting till the last minute? Why are you treating this like a 9th grade homework assignment? Okay. You don't have to wait till the night before to dig the hole.
Maybe the dirt is softer, with the dew and stuff like that.
Oh,
maybe.
No, but you made me think that maybe like they're worried about kind of rings. It's like, if it's open for a week, a kid falls in there and sues the cemetery. Can you sue a cemetery? Is that owned by the church or the city?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh. Moving on.
Moving on. We got good questions here today. Good questions. They described the creature they saw as a man-like figure who could fly. 3 days later, on the night of November 15th, 1966, Newell Partridge's dog started growling at a creature outside. Partridge heard a odd noise and went outside to investigate with a flashlight. He was startled to discover the Mothman. Partridge quickly tried to call his dog back into the house, but the dog, who was a trained hunting dog, darted off into the night.
No, I gotta kill it.
Partridge ran into the house and grabbed his rifle and go after his dog, but was too scared to go back outside. He never saw the dog again.
Oh, that's sad. And you would definitely feel guilty. Like, okay, I get it. It's an animal, and some people love their pets more than others. I would feel so bad if I didn't run after my dog and I never saw it again. But like, what are we talking about? Because if my dog's a small dog, if it ran after, like, let's say a bear, what do you do? Because I'm not going to run after a bear to get my dog, but I'd feel really bad.
You see videos of that kind of stuff, and people like that one lady that pushed the bear off of her fence. Like, literally, she physically wrestled a bear off of her fence because it was going after her dog.
Yeah, but that was a small black bear, and the bear was already kind of like dangling over the fence. I'm just saying.
That's still brave.
Okay,
That's still friggin' brave, man. I won't go near a bear.
I wouldn't necessarily run up and push one.
Yeah, no, and I believe that was like a 17-year-old girl. Like, it was.
Okay, well, that's
surprising.
your answer, man. Have you ever met a 17-year-old girl? They're retarded.
I was gonna say, and they're brave.
Excuse me. I don't mean to say they're retarded. They are stupid.
Well, and that's what we're saying is when you're young and dumb, and you don't know any better. But so here, the same night, two married couples were taking a late night drive out of Point Pleasant to the TNT area. Saw a large dog carcass on the side of the road on their way out. Upon reaching the TNT area, they saw a large, winged humanoid with glowing red eyes. The creature chased them back into town and managed to keep up with them even though they were speeding at 100 miles per hour.
Is this the same people who are
Yeah, this is that same story
okay, great.
from the beginning. As they drove back into town, they noticed that the dog carcass was gone. They went back to look for it later,
Dog carcass.
but it was never found. Many believe the dog's carcass was Newell Partridge's hunting dog. On the night of the 16th...
Well, I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
Right, so
I'd connect those dots.
So yeah, this is adding a bit more details to that. So on the night of the 16th, Marcella Bennett was driving to a friend's house at night. She got out of the car with her baby, so this was when she dropped the baby, and she was so startled she dropped it. She quickly recovered, however, and rushed inside with the child and locked the doors.
Ooh, they fumbled the baby, but she recovers.
Oh my God, in the end.
That's all right, man. Babies, they're pretty resilient. It's fine. As long as you didn't drop it in its face.
Whoopsie daisies. The Mothman reportedly walked up the steps to the porch.
Hold on. Can I say something, Ryan?
You may.
Have you ever dropped your kid? Because I haven't yet, but I know I know it'll happen eventually.
No, never dropped him, but he did have a nice tumble down some of the stairs once.
Oh, see, that's horrifying.
Yep.
All right, the things to look forward to.
Yep. By the time the police arrived to investigate, it had disappeared. Hundreds of other sightings would be reported during this time, though these are the most notable. So that was that beginning story there. And then we even got another one out of Chernobyl.
Yeah, so the next following ones are just short little blurbs about other times the Mothman was seen.
Probably, like I said, drawn to these events.
Yeah, like, tragedy is so delicious.
I mean, these were fucking some events. Chernobyl. Throughout the year of 1985, many scientists, workers, and citizens who lived near the power plant in Chernobyl, Ukraine, saw a large, bird-like creature with the body of a man flying around the nuclear plant. They claimed this terrifying creature had glowing red eyes. On the April 26, 1986, the creature was spotted before a huge explosion that became one of the most famous nuclear accidents in history. Witnesses also saw the creature flying through the smoke and wreckage after the horrifying event.
You know, there is a mini series from HBO called Chernobyl, and it does a really good job of like laying out like what happened in the disaster. And it's not like it takes itself very seriously. It shows the horrors of radiation. It explains it in
Yep.
layman's terms. It is dramatic. Now I wish there was a Mothman in it.
I agree. I agree.
I think it would have added some levity to that show. It was very heavy.
But I think an important fact to say, just to add, is we know better now. Though with nuclear power is arguably like the cleanest source of power we could actually have, and we've learned from those mistakes. Those were human errors that could have been prevented. So I hate that there's a stigma on nuclear power myself. Actually,
Well, you know, I'm actually not going to get into a debate with you about this right now because I was unprepared for it. But I will say I am not a proponent for nuclear power.
cool. No, like I said,
We
I'm
should
open
have
to ideas.
we should have an intellectual debate on this at some point.
That'd be
It'll
cool.
we'll call it Power Chat.
Power chat.
Power Chat. Oh, we'll probably come up with a better name.
We
name's-
might.
That,
We might.
yeah, that name's terrible. All right,
Yeah,
continue.
Yeah, but 9/11 and the
Ooh,
Twin Towers.
nuclear feelings.
Nuclear feelings.
That's better.
I do like it.
All right. Next time it was seen, well, and not in order. Another time it was seen. 9/11.
Several days before the terrible attack on September 11th, 2001, several people saw a strange creature near the Twin Towers. Those who saw the attack report that the same creature was flying parallel to the second plane as it hit the tower.
See, that's a creepy one. I've actually never
it could
heard.
keep up with the car.
It could. I'm not. Yeah, no. I'm all for it. If it was seen, that is a cool story. I've never heard of the Mothman having anything to do with the two towers before now, though. Personally,
I didn't hear about that either.
I will say, there's the thing I remember about when the two towers happened, and the reason why this is relevant is because it's entertainment.
Mhm.
The Spider-Man movie was being released, and I don't remember exactly when, but it was pretty close. It was like within a month after.
I know what you're about to say.
Well, there was a teaser for the new Spider-Man movie when it was coming out in 2001, and it had Peter Parker, or I should say Spider-Man, making a web kind of hammock in between the two towers and kind of resting in it.
Yep.
And after 9/11 happened, they pulled that advertisement.
Well, that was and they made it like, yeah, it was a video and a flyer.
Yeah, and it's they spent the marketing team. That was not just one of the biggest disasters in America history. It was one of the biggest disasters for a marketing team ever. Like, fuck, that is half our budget.
Man, it is. That's crazy. So people reported seeing the Mothman at 9/11.
Yeah.
All right.
Oof.
So we kind of covered this one, but I've got one here on another rendition of the collapse of the Silver Bridge. On December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed during rush hour traffic. In the hours before the collapse, and even during the event, many witnesses claimed to have seen the Mothman atop the bridge. The collapse was devastating, and 46 people lost their lives as their cars were plunged into the river below. The Mothman was never seen in Point Pleasant again.
Yeah. So the film The Mothman Prophecies is pretty cool because there's a character who goes to Point Pleasant because he's trying to interview people about this Mothman that everybody's been seeing. And the climax of the film is the collapse of the bridge. Now, as far as I know, the film's not based on anything beyond the real events of that there were reports of a Mothman and
Yeah.
the bridge did collapse. But I think it's an underrated movie.
I really want to watch it again because I remember it freaked me out when I saw it.
Well, it's definitely more of a suspense. Like you don't really see. I don't think you ever really see the creature very. Like I think they just talk about it. And
It's
then,
like more like a shroud.
yeah,
It was like a black shadow.
like they do a good job of kind of like representing what happened. But I don't think anyone in the film definitively is like, oh yeah, no, there's a creature that's right there. His name's Ted.
Oh, Ted.
Oh, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. As sightings of this cryptid continue into present day, many people wonder if the Mothman is more than a myth that haunts the town of Point Pleasant. There seems to be no consensus on whether the creature means harm towards humans, though it can be agreed that sightings of the Mothman seem to precede tragedies and loss of life.
Yeah. And you know what? I think finally the end idea here is I do agree with you. I think it is just like feeding off the tragedy itself, and it is drawn to it like a moth to the
For
flame, like
one
we keep
reason or
saying.
another.
You know, whether it's supernatural, whether it's an alien, whether it is a creature made of toxic waste, I think everyone knows that the Mothman is just one of those things that have been reported enough to there is something to it, whether it's real or just a fucking big bird or something.
Well, creatures like this exist in cultures around the world throughout history. If you were in Ireland, it would be the banshee. They would always forebode doom, and death.
It's just everything is based on something, and whether that is a bad dream someone had or a hallucination or an actual creature or alien or whatever that really existed. And that's what we do here. It's fun to talk, it's fun to speculate, and I just think that uncovering the mystery is just it's not everything to know why. Some things are just good to discuss the possibilities.
And a good story is always good. And the Mothman is a freaking good story.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report! So, if you're a fan of that 90s show, which is, of course, the sequel series to that 70s show, strap in, we got some news. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis will not be reprising their role. They did a small cameo in Season 1, but for Season 2, they say no way. In other news, if you're a fan of Crazy Rich Asians, the film, strap in, because it's being adapted into a Broadway musical. Huzzah! This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report!
Ryan's disclosure discussion. It's about aliens and stuff.
Planet X. For years, some astronomers have been suggesting that the unusual behavior on the edge of our solar system is best explained by another undiscovered planet.
Ooh, I love that. We're downgrading Pluto, but we found another one, guys. It's okay.
Poor Pluto. That helps explain the orbits of objects that lie at the very far reaches of our solar system, more than 250 times away from the sun than we are. Now, Konstantin Bogatin, a
Cool name.
very cool, a astronomer who helped popularize the theory, says that he and his team have found yet more evidence that suggests that planet exists. The new work represents the strongest statistical evidence yet that Planet 9 is really out there, he said.
I mean, math, right? Like if
Uh-huh.
if that's what you're looking at, and the equation says, we got to solve for X. X is a ninth planet. I mean, that's why it's Planet X. Maybe I'm
We've been
just
hearing
saying.
about this for a long time.
It's always been theorized.
Yeah. In the new work, scientists looked.
I could totally see why it would look like New York.
Yeah, I thought New
yeah.
York.
Yeah, fair enough.
In the new work.
Sometimes your brain just fills in the gaps of what a word looks like. Like the other day, someone was like, they wrote a whole thing on their YouTube video of just like, this is a thing that it's not our fault. And because so many of the videos on YouTube are Fallout, and if you look at fault, it's F-A, it ends with a T,
Yes.
there's an L in there. It just totally fucked with my head. And I just saying.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yeah, man, it is a human trait.
Scientists looked at a set of trans-Neptunian objects, or TNOs, which is the technical term for those objects that sit out at the edge of our solar system beyond Neptune. The new work looked at those objects that have their movement made unstable because they interact with the orbit of Neptune. That instability meant they were harder to understand. When they looked towards those objects and tried to understand their movements. And Dr. Bogatin claimed the best explanation is that they result from another undiscovered planet. The best explanation was from the model that included Planet 9.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying is objects that are farther than Neptune or around Neptune, they're all moving wacky. Like they're not orbiting the way they should. I think one of the moons actually orbits another moon and then will orbit Neptune and then do kind of like a figure eight. If it wasn't doing that to a moon, it was doing that to Pluto or something like that. Like they pass a moon back and forth. There's a lot of weird things. And mathematically, statistically, the gravity of another planet could
Right.
be the reason. And it makes sense. It's far enough away that depending on the composition of the planet, what it's made out of, what gases are in the atmosphere, or the size of it, it is far enough away from the sun that it might be completely shrouded in darkness. And we would only be able to see it due to gravity effects.
And who knows what it's made of? You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
We don't even know.
That's exactly it.
Better understanding of the existence or not of Planet 9 will come when the Vera C. Rubin Observatory is turned on, they note. That is currently being built in Chile, and when it is turned on, it will be able to scan the sky to understand the behavior of those distant objects.
Yeah, every time we get a new piece of technology, like the new telescopes, we see so many cool things. They just photographed like something with a black hole. I don't know if it was the gravity. I don't know exactly what it was. I think it was light, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Light finally getting taken into the event horizon. And anyways, they finally got a photograph of something that was only theoretical. And that's what they're talking about here. After this Chilean observatory comes out, we might have an official Planet 9.
I bet they're right. Most people, it always starts off like this, and then it's like, oh, they were totally right the whole time.
Oh, man, that is awesome.
I'm excited.
But what
for
does
that.
this have to do with Ryan disclosure discussion? Why bring it up? Well, strap in, guys. This is why.
This hypothetical ninth planet is very exciting to those who subscribe to the theories of writer Zachariah Stitchin.
It's Zachariah Stitchin.
July 11th, 1920 to October 9th, 2010.
That's when he lived and died.
Was an author of the number of books proposing an explanation for human origins involving ancient astronauts. Stitchin attributed the creation of the ancient Sumerian culture to the Anunnaki, which he stated was a race of extraterrestrials from a planet beyond Neptune called Nibiru. He asserted that the Sumerian mythology suggests that this hypothetical planet of Nibiru is an elongated 3,600-year-long elliptical orbit around the sun.
Yeah, so basically it would go like swing by the sun, for its orbit pretty close to the sun, getting kind of like by closer planets like, Venus, us, Earth, all that. And then it would go away in part of its orbit far away to beyond Neptune and kind of do that like a real long oval shape. That was the theory, to the
Yeah.
best of my knowledge.
No, and that explains why it's just hard for us to figure it out to catch it.
Yeah, so anything weird in space is some mathematical problem that we haven't figured out yet, but we will. There's always a reason, and it's always some kind of gravity or some kind of energy or some kind of particle, and we figure it out eventually. If we don't kill ourselves before knowing all the answers, someday humankind will probably understand the universe and how it works completely. Who knows?
Who knows? We will talk more about the Anunnaki in a future episode. For now, we're sticking with the planet. Whether you call it Planet X, Planet 9, or Nibiru, it's the theory of the elliptical orbit that's interesting and possibly apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic. The Nibiru
Cataclysm is a supposed disastrous encounter between Earth and a large planetary object, either a collision or a near miss, that certain groups believed would take place in the early 21st century. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Nibiru or Planet X. The idea was first put forward in 1995 by Nancy Lidar.
Yeah, so the whole thing is, like I said, that long elliptical orbit is when they think that when it would get too close to Earth, that it would change something about the poles, and it would screw us up, and that's what it is, and then it'll come by the sun and it'll fly away. It is this one theory connected to it.
And it would just have such a gravitational pull that, yeah, it could mess us up bad.
Absolutely. Well, in the theory.
Well, right, because, yeah, we're not used to having that happen.
giant planet. Depending on,
Just
I think
coming by.
Nibiru is supposed to be bigger than us too. So the gravity of it. There was a Chinese film on Netflix called The Wandering Earth, and that was where they basically turned Earth into a spaceship by putting engines on the planet and kind of shot it through the solar system. But anyways, it got too close to Jupiter, and so Earth started getting pulled apart because it was getting pulled into the gravity of Jupiter. So it's kind of like that idea.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a weird movie. The sequel was not bought by Netflix, and you could find it on other streaming sites. But if you want to watch the original, you have to get it on Netflix.
Good to know. Good to know. Founder of the website Zeta Talk, Leiter claims she is a contactee with the ability to receive messages from extraterrestrials from the Zeta Reticuli star system through an implant in her brain.
Yep, makes sense.
She states that she was chosen to warn mankind that the object would sweep through the inner solar system in May of 2003, though that date was later postponed.
It's always postponed. Oh, I didn't mean this day. The world's going to end next week. Don't worry about it. I was just slightly off of my math.
Just slightly, ever so slightly.
I didn't see the Mothman, so I knew it wasn't this week.
Mothman? Moth who? That's what I want to know. Causing Earth to undergo a physical pole shift that would destroy most of humanity. The prediction has subsequently spread beyond Leiter's website and has been embraced by numerous internet doomsday groups. In the late 2000s, it became closely associated with the 2012 phenomenon.
Yeah, they just keep grasping at straws. No, the world's going to end next time.
And it just happened with the solar eclipse.
Exactly. The world was supposed to end like that, like last week.
Since 2012, the Nibiru cataclysm has frequently reappeared in the popular media, usually linked to news-making astronomical objects such as comic ISON or Planet 9.
Yeah, anything that pops up that could possibly be this rogue planet that's going to destroy us. It's like, see, there it is.
And maybe not. Although the name Nibiru is derived from the works of the ancient astronaut writer, what was his name?
Zechariah Stitchin.
Zechariah Stitchin, and his interpretations of Babylonian and Sumerian mythology. He denied any connection between his work and various claims of a coming apocalypse. A prediction by self-described Christian numerologist David Mead that the Nibiru cataclysm would occur on the 23rd of September in 2017 received extensive media coverage.
So even though that was extensive media coverage, that obviously didn't end the world. And I do like the fact that they mentioned, they're like, all right, so this rogue planet that's going to swing by, it's called Nibiru, but the guy who originally wrote about Nibiru, Zachariah Stitchin, he's trying to be real clear about this. Look, guys, I'm my own kind of crazy. I don't think the world's going to end. It's important to say Zachariah Stitchin, even though I love his work, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of ignoring of certain scientific principles. He's definitely pseudoscience is not a nice thing to call any ufologist at all, because that's not fair. In his case, there are several times where his theories are proven incorrect. So take it with a grain of salt.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Like most apocalyptic prophecies, we're still waiting for the end of the world. Or at least proof that a ninth planet really exists. If it does, we're betting we might just meet some extraterrestrials.
Because, yeah, I mean, we actually are going to talk about the Anunnaki in a future episode. That's why we didn't touch upon it too much here. But that would be crazy, because if it is Nibiru, supposedly the race that created humanity as a slave race, so we can mine gold, so they could use the gold to fix their atmosphere in Sumeria way back when, the winged gods that are like 9 feet tall, the Anunnaki, apparently we would meet them.
They would have to have some crazy technology, because their atmosphere would be compromised if it's just kind of a rogue planet. So like they must have it like completely, like all technology is probably what keeps them alive.
It's hard to say because if their planet always had that rotation, then whatever atmosphere, whatever their world's like, it would be assuming it would just be
Normal
created.
to
It would
them,
work,
yeah.
normal to them. But them having a damaged atmosphere and needing gold to repair it is straight out of the Zachariah Stitchin books.
There you go. And like they're gonna show up here and be like, wait a minute, you're wearing it? You're wait,
Well,
what?"
no, they say that the theory is the reason why we love gold, the reason why we even give a crap about gold is because we were bred as slaves to mine gold. So it's in our DNA to want and covet gold.
And like we just like what if their civilization like somehow they're all gone. And now we still live on and we still have this weird obsession with gold for zero reason.
Well, that might actually do us really good because if they come around, do you remember in the film Prometheus when Wayland Yutani actually finally got to meet one of the I forget what they call them, the big guys, the
Whatever
guys
the
who created it.
creators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't always go well, man.
Oh, he was pretty angry. He chose violence.
Well, there was this Babylonian story that was basically the Noah's Ark and the Great Flood. And one of the ideas is when the Nibiru and the Anunnaki left that they basically tried to kill humanity. One of them was like, all right, I like humanity. Let's try to save like the whole Noah story straight out of the Babylonia. The point is, they come back and we're still alive. They might look at us like a fucking cockroach infestation.
Yeah, that's honestly been my biggest fear about like an alien race coming here is that's exactly how they'll look at us.
Ugh, and we don't want to be squished like a bug. Well, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I think that was a very good Ryan's alien disclosure discussion.
I think it was very good. I love the story of Planet X. I'm kind of a believer in it myself, honestly. So,
Well, like I said, if there's a mathematic like gravity that you can work out, it just feels like if it's not a rogue planet, it's something. These weird gravitational anomalies are happening for some reason. So if it's not a planet, just keep looking. Just don't do what scientists have been doing and just ignoring the equation. You know what I mean? Like that piece of data needs to be factored in.
and we're just discovering new stuff every single day. So yeah, don't close the door on nothing.
Earthling Entertainment headlines. Here we go with the entertainment section of the podcast. Ryan, I hear we got some headlines.
We do got some headlines, Joe.
Oh man, well why don't you tell me those headlines? Just throw them out there. Just give us a little bit of a taste.
Did you guys like the show Wednesday? Well, if you did, season 2 casts Steve Buscemi and Tandy Way Newton.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously we love Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah,
He does all the Adam Sandler films, but before that, he Reservoir Dogs was a big deal.
Con
We
Air.
love Con Air. We love Airheads with Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
When earlier
was
in
Rex.
episode we we pitched the sequel. Yeah, so that's great. And this the other woman, what is it? Twindy.
Tandy Way Newton.
Excellent. I believe she was in Westworld.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's cool. And, I loved her in that. So awesome. I hear that Steve Buscemi is going to play the new principal because spoiler for season 1 of Wednesday, which is, if you guys don't know, I mean, I assume you do, but it's Addams Family. Wednesday, the character, the youngest daughter, it's her show. It was on Netflix. I believe it was 8 episodes. Big hit with Jenna Ortega. So I'd be surprised if anyone listening didn't know what we were talking about.
I was going to say it was really good. I watched it. I enjoyed that one. And I don't know, Steve Buscemi's the man. That dude's like a real life like hero.
I've always enjoyed him in everything I've seen him in. Even when I've seen him in movies that I didn't particularly love, I always liked his performance. You know what's funny is he was in the Final Fantasy film from the early 2000s. The one that wasn't based on any games.
Really?
Alec Baldwin was in it too. It was
What?
Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, never. I didn't even know that.
CGI movie, pretty good.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, it had the ghost aliens.
I was so uninterested.
You
At
should
the
have been.
time,
It was everything we like. It was ghost and aliens.
I guess I just wasn't in the mindset
to really
appreciate that, you know?
Fair enough. Well, the reason why a lot of people didn't like it is they didn't do a lot of the game stuff that they should have done. And apparently my dog is weighing in. He has some.
Paramount has delayed Aang, the Last Airbender, to 2026.
Wah, wah, wah. So, for those of you
Yeah.
who don't know, this was The Last Airbender. It was on Nickelodeon. It was a great show, lasted 3 seasons. They had a sequel series called The Legend of Korra. Anyways, they're going to make a movie. The original creators are making a movie and just got delayed. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, it says the animated Avatar: The Last Airbender spinoff was previously set for October 10th, 2025, and will now open on January 20th, 2026. Dave Bautista,
Dave Bautista!
Drax,
Drax the Destroyer.
and Eric Name are headlining the voice cast for the film, which is in development at Paramount and Nickelodeon Studios. Plot details haven't been revealed, but Bautista will voice a villain character.
That makes sense. He has the kind of like growly voice, like, I could see him. I also could see him as being like the wise old helper too. So,
Yeah,
but-
he does have like a bit of wisdom to his voice for like a big meathead. You know what I mean? Like he does.
it's amazing how many wrestlers have become actors. You know what I mean? It didn't quite work for Hulk Hogan, but even him did a bunch of movies.
I don't care. Yeah, I loved Hulk Hogan's movies. Like those are our classics.
I remember Macho Man Randy Savage. He did a small cameo in a movie called Grind, which was not a sex thing. It was a skateboarding thing. 2003, funny film. And then he did a cameo in 2000's Ready to Rumble, starring David Arquette. And
Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, I'm the bone saw.
Yeah.
It's the voice, man.
It is. You could tell that was him. God, he was so roided out of his mind in that movie.
I think it was his career.
Oh,
right?
dude,
Yeah,
he
but,
was, dude.
but anyways, yeah, wrestlers turning to actors. Dave
yeah.
Bautista, he's one of the guys who actually has become an actual actor. Like, The Rock actually gets real roles. Now Dave Bautista's getting real roles. He was in Dune. He did The Glass Onion. I don't know. I just like the guy.
He
But,
did like a horror recently that was kind of messed up, actually. I
It
actually
was
kinda
called
liked
Knock
it.
on the Cabin Door.
I thought it was pretty good.
It was M. Night Shyamalan, believe it or not.
I believe it.
And it was for those of you who don't know, spoilers. It definitely spoilers for Knock on the Cabin Door. Okay,
Yeah.
don't get mad at me. It's basically they're unwilling, but still the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and a sacrifice needs to be made in order for the world not to end. And the twist in this movie is there is no twist. That's actually what's happening.
Because yeah,
Because they make you think that they're just crazy people.
right. That's the whole thing. Is like the whole time you're guessing, you're trying to figure out, is it true? Like,
Is it? Is it?
You know what I mean? Like the whole time you're like, no way.
I mean, that's the fun of the movie. That's why I said spoilers, because let me tell you, yeah, we just spoiled that movie. But it's a great
Yeah,
one.
100%.
Anyways, back to Avatar, the animated film that's coming out 2026. That disappoints me. There's a little bit more information.
Lauren Montgomery, who worked on the original Avatar: The Last Airbender television show, is directing the project with William Mata.
Yeah.
Series creators Michael DeMartino and Brian Konietzko are serving as executive producers alongside Eric Coleman.
Now, those 2 creators, they were originally involved in the Netflix live action show. Did you see that?
I did not. I honestly missed out on all Airbender stuff.
Well, it's not too late. It's out there and it's really good. But what I was going to say is they left that project. They left the show creative differences, which means whatever actually happened, they just, they creative differences. We're not going to talk about it. But yeah, so them
Fair
being
enough.
involved in the movie is kind of like a lot of fans are like, this is canon. Whereas the Netflix live action show, it's kind of like, oh yeah, alternate timeline. Like Final Fantasy Remake and Final Fantasy 7,
I guess.
You guess?
That's another franchise I missed out on.
All right, well, we'll stop talking about franchises you have not heard of, and we'll jump to headline number 3, which is a franchise everyone's heard of. A great one, mind you.
Alien Romulus
New film, Alien Romulus.
is going to implement practical effects for the xenomorphs. Now, the iconic monster is set to return to theaters once again, while Noah Hawley is developing an Alien TV show.
Separate from this movie.
A new installment in the film franchise will premiere in 2024. Recently, star Isabella Merced shared some details about the film, including her praise of the terrifying practical xenomorphs
Practical xenomorphs.
created for the movie. Practical xenomorphs.
Practical xenomorphs.
Practical xenomorphs.
Practical xenomorphs.
She noted the highlights of her alien Romulus experience. Definitely seeing the Xeno for the first time. They used a robot.
So
for
this
that.
is her quote, like
Yes,
definitely seeing the Xeno for the first time.
And
Yeah,
also,
do a funny voice. I want a funny voice for the quotes, Ryan.
funny voice.
Yes.
Definitely seeing the Xeno for the first time. They used a robot for that.
Oh my God.
And also, they used a human being, like a really tall person,
Like a really, really tall one.
in the costume and special effects. We had 2 Xenos on set at all times, and they were just terrifying.
Spooky as fuck. Okay, yeah, we're done that.
She
done.
further adds,
yeah, she further adds. We're done with the voices. Though.
the
Continue.
detail is incredible. I like the Xeno nails. That's my favorite part. The chrome nails. I'm going to get chrome nails for the premiere. You'll see me with them all around. They were incredible.
That would be kind of cool though. If on the red carpet she has not just the chrome nails, but like absurdly long ones, like 2 inches, and you're just like, God damn, you look like the chick from X-Men 2.
That's right. And then get like a grill that has like the sharp teeth.
Oh man,
Because those were
that's
chrome
fun.
too, right? Like-
I mean, I don't remember them being chrome. I don't remember
Why
the
not?
nails being chrome either. But it doesn't like to me. That's not a red flag. What I like about this, all jokes aside, she's talking about actors acting alongside of practical effects. Now, let's just be honest.
And that's how the original was.
Well, it's easier to act when you see something in front of you. I mean, I have talked to many actors, and a lot of them say that on green screens and when you're talking to a tennis ball, you really, really got to dig deep. But the hardest thing is you feel silly. Whereas if you're in the moment with a practical suit or dummy, you can pretend more. You can immerse yourself more. And, I myself am not an actor, so I don't know. I can't really jump into the process of like how that actually works mentally. But all I'm saying is it is real. And when you see it on screen, you can tell the reactions just feel more real.
And I remember I had the special edition Alien Blu-ray or whatever, and I watched a deleted scene where the xenomorph actually kind of stretched out in front of one of the people.
Like
And-
stood up or just stretched.
Correct. And
Is this the one of the practical ones, not the newer ones, right?
Right. This is the original Alien movie. This was a deleted scene, and it stretched out and like stood up. And yeah, they took it out, and I listened to director's commentary on it, and he said they took this out because it looked too human. He said every
Oh.
other shot, they figured they were really able to pull off this alien
Creature
physique,
type
creature move. But in that particular scene, they're like, it kind of gave away some of the mystique of the creature.
thing. Right. Well, yeah, because the first movie it was all in shadows, but yeah, if it stood up and was like just
You
bipedal,
could tell it was
if
a
it's
dude.
bipedal, it's like, oh yeah, that is a dude.
You could literally just tell it was a dude in
Well-
that scene. And I always think about that because it freaked me out, because until then, I understood what the director meant. That would have taken it away from me, because it kind of did. I still remember that deleted scene vividly because I was like, oh, it's just a guy.
Fair enough. Well, when you watch the older installments or the original installments in any of these long-running franchises, you do definitely have to kind of bridge the time gap in your own mind. It's
Well,
like
they did such a good job. The way that the original cut, it's perfect.
I
Alien's
agree.
amazing.
well, because like Alien Covenant, that was like I think the last one that came out. I really liked that movie.
Me
but,
too.
But the aliens looked like CGI monsters. They weren't as
Yeah.
scary.
yeah.
It's the difference between the 2011 thing and the 1980, I believe, 5 thing, Practical, to me, looks better. Even when it looks faker, it looks better.
I still, yeah.
Maybe it's a sign of my age, man. Maybe it's because we grew up with more practical stuff and we saw that transition. But I talked to someone who was pretty young. They were like 15, and they said that they watched Old Freddy and then they watched the 2011 remake, and they said that the Old Freddy was scarier because the remake looked fake.
Yeah. And it's kind of like how I would rather watch Jaws any day than any, I mean,
Then the Meg
Deep
2.
Blue Sea was good, Honestly, I remember that movie.
Ryan.
That was a good one.
Ryan. The sequel game. How many movies are in the Deep Blue Sea franchise?
You're kidding me. They
Oh,
made
yeah.
more.
They did.
I'll bet they're all straight to sci-fi, right? Sci-fi movies.
I don't think they're straight to sci-fi, but they're definitely straight to home stream. They
Oh,
didn't have a
no.
theatrical release, to the best of my knowledge.
I mean, they couldn't have done more than 3.
You are correct. There is
Nice.
3, Deep Blue Sea 2 and Deep Blue Sea 3. Check them out if you
Oh my
want to
God.
watch bad shark movies, which
As
are
a
always fun.
As a result, the sharks got smarter.
I'm pretty sure the second one was just like a retelling, but it was like if they remade the movie as a made-for-TV movie, which happened before. So The Crow, obviously I love The Crow, Brendan Lee, but they made a TV show called, and I think it was 94 or 96, somewhere in between there, but it was called The Crow, Stairway to Heaven. And they basically remade the first movie as a made-for-TV movie as a pilot, so it was open-ended, and then it went on with his adventures. And it was pretty bad.
I'll bet. I didn't hear about it.
Oh, well, look it up, man. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and one more thing about Deep Blue Sea. I mean, it had just the most fire track from LL Cool J. My hat is like a shark's fin.
I
No,
do not
I kid you
remember
not.
I do remember that being one of the first movies where I noticed they went out of their way to make sure the black guy didn't die. Like we were out of the 80s and we're like, all right, guys, we can't just keep killing the black guy. Everyone
Well-
talks about the black guy dies first. So we jump into this movie and LL Cool J makes a joke about it. Like, oh, brother never lives through this or something like that. And he lived. But you thought he was going to die because other characters died that were very surprising. Like the one who, the big speech.
Yeah, he's one of the big survivors. Yeah, and he gets like that great line at the end because the other hero dude, he's sitting there with his legs in the water, and LL Cool J's character is like, I was wondering, are you sure there was just 3 sharks? And he lifts his legs out of the water slowly. And he's like, that's more like it.
Yeah. There was only 3 sharks, unless the sequels changed that. I didn't
maybe.
I didn't actually watch the sequels.
See, neither did I. But anyways, I don't know.
Anyways,
I
Alien
mentioned 'cause
Romulus.
Those were CGI, but they did have scenes where it was like a physical, like you saw like the dorsal and everything like coming at the actor. And you could tell that was
Mixing it
real.
is always fine.
That's why I think that movie worked for me. Like I still fondly remember that as a good shark movie. But I put that right next to Jaws because the practical effects are just better.
I agree. Really do agree that I think they're just better. But I want to add real quick. You know what else? Oh, you know what? Forget it. We're talking too long.
I was gonna say we are rambling today.
Alien Romulus. Practical effects, very cool. All right, I'm going to say it anyways. So the Kate Beckinsale movie Underworld, where she played Celine, which was the vampire hero who lasted 5 films in that franchise, by the way. Kate Beckinsale in that film, very hot. My first crush. She was in high school. But I shouldn't say my first crush, but anyways, practical effects, CGI, same thing. All the lichens, all the werewolves were practical in every close-up shot, but then when they would run, they did CGI, and that was really cool. Just like Alien Romulus, that's my transition. Let's go to headline number 4.
The Witcher TV show will end after season 5. It was big news when Henry Cavill announced a while back that he would not be returning for The Witcher season 4. His replacement, Liam Hemsworth, is tasked to finish the series. Netflix, perhaps seeing the writing on the wall, have decided to conclude the series. The show will receive a 5th and final season, which will start production as soon as season 4 wraps.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's pretty cool if you are a fan of The Witcher, which is a great book series. They made a really good video game. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is huge. Everyone loved that game. And I read 3 out of the 5 books.
I loved Gwent. I loved the card game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I honestly played the card game more than the actual game.
Well, if you, that's funny. If you, I kind of did the same thing with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a game called Queen's Blood, and I've been playing that a lot.
That's
I've been
sweet.
going out of my way to try to find people to play Queen's Blood with in the game world. But back to The Witcher, do you know anything about the show? Have you seen it?
I did. I watched most of it. I love the song that the bard sings for him.
Okay, right on.
I've had that stuck in my head for a few years now. It feels like that song is amazing. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. It's so good.
It is. I'm not sure. I think Henry Cavill, and this is speculation, but one of his next projects, he's doing a lot, but he's trying to develop a Warhammer movie, and he loves Warhammer and
Well,
tabletop.
he's been a huge promoter for the game. Like, I see so many, like, it feels like every interviewer has to ask him about it. I've seen it so many different times.
Well, fair enough. Well, some speculate that's why he left The Witcher. And Liam Hemsworth, I'm not a huge fan, but they look different. It's going to be weird. It's weird that they're replacing the main character. I would almost make him a different character and just be like, he does the same thing that The Witcher did. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. And I think a lot of people feel that way, which is why, season 4, which has not come out yet, will be Liam Hemsworth's first season. His second season, season 5, is the final season. That is 2 out of 5 seasons. So you could argue that Liam Hemsworth is going to be almost just as big of a star as Henry Cavill in the show, ultimately.
And I'll admit, the series, I'm sure was a great series, but you know how I am with series. I don't like what they always seem to, the story goes off, they find different characters to add too much there where I don't care. It's like, dude, I'm here for The Witcher.
You just want to follow The Witcher.
Right. And
so the expanding of the world, if let's say if not done properly, if rushed,
they lost me. Yeah, they lost me. So I'll admit, I don't really remember the end. They got into this love entanglement and there's this whole thing.
Well, that's what The Witcher is, dude. It's fighting monsters and sex.
Right, and I'm fine with, that's good. Yeah,
but you don't want the entanglement.
Right. No, see, he doesn't either.
Ryan, man, he just wants the free agent.
Well, when it comes to The Witcher, I guess. But like I said, maybe it just wasn't for me.
Ryan's Witcher's a pimp.
He is. Well, Henry did such a good job, and it all looked great. Like I said, and I loved the Bard. He was amazing. I liked his character. So
how do you think Liam Hemsworth is going to do? Do you even know who Liam Hemsworth is?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Chris Hemsworth's brother.
Yeah, he was in the Hunger Games. He played Gale.
I was gonna say, no, he's a good actor, and he's a handsome dude, so I'm sure he'll take the role. Because that's the one thing is, like the chicks loved Henry Cavill. I'm sure that they will love this dude too, and it's like, I hope that it does well enough for them.
Well, I mean, it's Netflix, so it's being made. Like,
right.
Whether it's good or bad, season 4 and 5 are coming.
Yeah, and that's good. Like I said, good for them that they get to end it. But unfortunately, with losing Henry, I think they've already probably lost at least half their audience. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's true.
I agree, but like maybe they're just thinking, well, it'll be out there, right? So eventually, the guy who fell off is gonna be like, I guess I'll fucking check this out. Maybe he likes it, and by then they're already, they're already out, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll see, and. Like I said, honestly, they lost me, so I'm not super into it.
Well, fair enough. I'm not. You know what I was into though? Our fifth headline of the day, Fallout the show. Yeah. So they announced it a week ago, right after we dropped our show. But so it's old news to say season 2 is confirmed. But season 2 is confirmed. But you know what is new news? The fact that it will take place in New Vegas.
New Vegas.
So for those of you who don't know, Fallout New Vegas takes place after Fallout 3 and before Fallout 4, and it is a game that is considered a side game, even though a lot of people think it should have been Fallout 4. Like everyone thinks it's one of the best games, if not the best game in the Fallout series.
Yeah, you play as the courier in this game. You were set to deliver.
They always have fancy names for the hero.
And so the courier was set to deliver the platinum chip.
And the platinum chip controls a bunch of robots throughout the city and basically would change the power structure of New Vegas. Whatever faction gets the platinum chip essentially will run the wasteland.
Ave, true to Kaiser.
Ahaha. That is the only game with Caesar's Legion, which was a weird faction because I guess they would crucify people.
Oh, dude, they were fucked. They were fucked up.
So we'll probably see that in season 2. And there's monsters that they have to do a lot of monsters.
Super mutants are gonna have to be here.
Medusa. Remember those Medusa things? They were like weird little squid people that came out in the desert.
Oh, and then if they're gonna be in New Vegas, There's totally going to be, I forget what they're called. They're like a type of giant hornet wasp thing.
Well, that sounds awful.
Oh, they were the worst. They would kill the crap out of you. If you didn't see them coming and they were on you, you were pretty much dead.
Oh, that sucks. Well, anyways, that is kind of big news. And
That's
if you
huge
guys,
news,
that
dude.
is huge news. And everyone, spoiler for season 1 of Fallout, it does end where our hero is following someone. I'm not going to spoil everything. Is following someone with the ghoul, and Lucy and the ghoul are following this person into New Vegas. The last scene we see is the skull of a Deathclaw in the desert,
Yeah.
and then it pans up, and it's revealed through the silhouette of the villain we're chasing that he is headed towards New Vegas.
And since it's New Vegas, we've seen the skull, so we know there will be death claws for sure. We're going to have death claws.
We got to have Deathclaws. Well, that's the thing. That's my only criticism of season 1 is there was not enough monsters. They did a great job with the show. They nailed the world, but there was no Murlocs. There was no...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, yeah.
They're going to have the cowboy robot guy. He's got to be there. He's the one that like introduces everything when you go to New Vegas.
If he's alive, it'll be there because remember, all the games and the show fit together in one canon. So no matter what anyone says, the show is not retconning anything. They were checking with the creators of the timeline. It doesn't change. A story even came out where the game people are like, Fallout, the show does not change anything in the Fallout timeline.
I've honestly never been so excited for a recent series to have another season like since like The Mandalorian.
It's pretty awesome.
Like,
did you end up getting to finish the series yet?
Of
Fallout, the first season.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah?
I did finish it. I know we're not spoiling stuff on this, but fantastic. Lots of we didn't have monsters like you said. I hope they do more next season as well. But they did have a lot of the lore, a lot of the items and stuff.
A lot of things we were speculating at were confirmed as far as who dropped the bombs.
A lot of the music, like the music that comes in is straight from the games.
Oh, dude, in the vault, all the photos, like the paintings that you could, like in Fallout 4, you can build bases and you could put up art. All that art was in it was in the show. It's amazing. The lamps, the chairs, like they detailed the shit out of this.
Not good for them. Good for everybody involved, man. This is huge.
Good for them. Good job. Good. We like it.
Very good.
Okay, guys. Well, you know what? That's going to do it for this episode of Earthling Entertainment. Thank you for listening, and I'd like to remind all of you that the best way to support the show, if you like what we're doing here, download the episodes. And if you have it set on auto-download, make sure to go into the app and to look at the episode so that auto-download will get started. Thank you very much. Ryan, you have any final words?
I want to say thank you for listening. Like Joe said, please download the episode. It's the best way to support us. Send us a message on Facebook. Happy to hear from anybody. And that's all I got, Joe.
All right. So from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, we'll see you next week. And thanks for listening.
See ya.
See ya.